Mean by God, Gene. Woo! Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the greatest fictitious college football show in the land. That's right. We are talking about college football played on the PlayStation 5, baby. We're giving you the best there is, the best there was, and the best there will be. Yes, I know I crossed over wrestlers there, but I don't care. Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going through or recapping weeks 4, 5. I even think we get a little 6. Um, I'm not going to hold you too long. We're going to have a good time and a fun time. The show is called The Gridiron. I'm the Midnight Rider. Welcome to our latest episode. So if you will, in the words of Rev T, march with me. Well, maybe he says it, march with me. So here we go. First part of the show. Oh, I'm sorry. I was about to get started, and I didn't even introduce the greatest producer in the land, the big guy KG in the background making things happen. KG, how you doing, bro?
I'm here. I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to be a part of the show.
He's stupid, dog. I am so happy to be here. When you think of trash, think of Hakeem.
Mm-hmm.
So let's start the update with getting you guys updated with the Heisman Watch. And this is going to take us through week 6, but we'll get you. Basically, this is like a Quentin Tarantino movie. We're going to show you the ending and then bring you through how we get there and then show you the ending again. So, actually, no, it's like a black movie. KG, that makes even better sense. You know what I'm saying? You're going to show the Heisman Trophy race, and then we're going to have that moment, and we're going to pause, and we're like, that's how I found out, or this is how I ended up here. You know what I'm saying?
I guess you wonder how I ended up here at the house.
Yeah, that. So that's what we're going to give you. So here we go. Heisman Trophy 2027. We got Jordan Woolen from Oregon. Elijah Rushing, the right end from Oregon. Kendrick Bell, or was that Ball?
Bell,
Michigan. And then we got 2 non-user players involved. I don't see how, and I know it's a video game, but DJ Lagway will not be a senior playing football in college unless the money's just too rich. And that's the thing that we're going to get to, because there's a rumor out there that Quinn Ewers might get paid like $4 or $5 million to transfer to a Big Ten school next year. I don't know if you saw that, but there's a report out there talking about it. But that's real life. We're going to leave real life on the real life side. Let's stick to what we got here. The greatest fictitious college football show in the land. So I don't know if you guys, I mean, of course, you guys haven't seen, or some of you haven't seen what we're about to go through, but these standings make sense. But it's always amazing to me how Coach Darnell always has a running back in the mix. He had Edwards. I forgot the kid he had. That was the
Cole Cabana.
Cole, yep. That's who it was. He had him, and now he's got Kendrick Bell. He's just a running back factory. He might be the RBU of this fictitious college football league. But let's get into some scores. Let's update you, show you what teams are doing. We had a crazy week where teams were scoring points out of the wazoo. And here we go, starting off. Colorado beats Tennessee 44-0. Colorado looks like, I don't know if they're taking a thing out of the Army-Navy book or what, but did he only attempt 2 passes?
I believe that is correct. He only attempted 2 touchdowns, 2 passes.
Right, so he's trying to be the thing that people talk about. He's trying to be a run first, run second, run third, and run fourth type of program. He came out with 44 points. That's amazing in its own right that he scored 44. He came out with 393 yards worth of offense, 6 touchdowns on 29 carries. Man, they was putting in the work there. Let's go to the Wolverines. What were the Wolverines doing this week? This is the week that everybody and their grandmama scored like almost 100 points. The Wolverines 77, the University of Georgia 0. The Wolverines had 461 yards worth of offense, 25 carries, 359 yards, and 9 touchdowns. That's crazy. Crazy work going on here. He did have 111 yards passing I don't know, man. This is some crazy stuff going on. Because as I keep going through this, I know the next screen we get to is the Maryland Terps, and the Terps scored what? This is the 35-7 one. All right, so this is the tame one. 35-7. Terps put up 340 yards worth of offense. He doesn't subscribe to 3 yards in a cloud of dust because he only had carries with 59 yards and 2 touchdowns. Passing game looks like there was 281 yards of passing. God, I gotta get my eyes checked. I'm old. So that's where the Terps are. Alabama came out, put up 116 on the University of Nebraska, 713 yards of offense. He had 1 rush for 4 yards and 1 touchdown.
Yeah.
He had 709 yards. Yo, this is ridiculous. That Bama boy, when he wanna put up points, he don't care. He has no remorse or no concern for your feelings. He's gonna put up points when he wants to put up points. But that's not even the worst one for the week, because I think Oregon tops that. They go 130-0 over Florida State, 586 yards of offense, 304 yards rushing, 202 yards passing, 11 TDs on the ground. I guess they had to prove a point that they could run the football. Jesus. I watched this game, and after the first quarter, I just turned it off because I felt bad for Florida State. Like, it was unadulterated open lanes to the quarterback. I think he had probably 200 sacks in this ball game. Numbers are approximate, but that's how it felt like when I was watching it. And then you fast forward and go to the next matchup, and you get the Irish doing their thing. They go to where the players dwell. They go to room 112, or they score 112, I should say, with 626 yards of total offense, 42 yards rushing, 2 TDs, 582 yards passing. Whew. Y'all boys is putting up numbers. I know this was a can't get right week because we had some a glitch in the matrix, but yeah, there was points, and points.
Let me say something about this game. Well, now we did have a glitch and we had to make some things right. That's why it looks like this, not like this every week. But this was the perfect week for me because I wanted to inflict as much pain on Texas A&M as I possibly could.
Didn't they knock you out the playoffs?
They knocked year before last. I'm coming into that playoff game against Texas A&M, and I think I had already lost 2 games straight. I lost to Stanford and USC back to back. Going to the playoff because I was 9-1.
Okay.
And I walked into that playoff 9-3. They knocked me out, put me down, and I mean they put me down badly. And that was the second time they had beat me. And I said, you know what? We ran this the way we ran this week, week 4. I was like, let's do it. I got Texas A&M, and me and the Alabama boy were talking. You know, we were on a conference call, and we seen what Big Jim did down up there in Oregon. So we was like, okay, he scored 130. That's the goal. Try to beat 130. And I was really trying to score 140 on him. I ran the ball 4 times.
Yeah, that's ridiculously low for you.
Yeah. 2 of those times with my quarterback. My quarterback, Eric Stauffer, who came in the Texas A&M game in the playoff and threw 2 touchdowns. He threw 11 touchdowns and ran for 2 more. He scored 13 touchdowns on his own.
Jesus.
I was trying to inflict as much pain, as much despair as I possibly could. It was so bad. Texas A&M used 7 quarterbacks in that game.
I mean, when you score 112, I mean, you just not exactly going to just let anybody play or anybody go. I mean, Whew, jeez.
And shout out to Bryce Young, my young D lineman who can play the end, the tackle, anything you want him to play, he can play it all. Shout out to him. I think he had 7 sacks in that game. He had a Derek Thomas type performance.
All right, so that ends just the box scores that we have for week 4. Let's go ahead and jump into week 5. Week 5 starts with the Penn State Nittany going. I'm saying that's 48-29. Is that right, KG?
48-28.
48-28. Sorry. Yo, these old eyes, I gotta get closer to the screen.
Gotta take you. So
this small print is killing them, brother. But looks like Penn State went for 186 on the ground, 6 TDs, 100 yards passing. You know what? Next time we send this, we gotta try to see if we can get the MVP of the game, so we can highlight some of the guys and their best players. I know we can't do it every time, but if we can get it, we should try to do that. Let's go ahead and fast forward to the Ducks. The Ducks 27-14 over USC. Looks like they had 263 yards of total offense, 86 yards rushing, 2 TDs, 177 yards passing. It's crazy. When I watch the Ducks, Maryland, and Michigan, you know how some people listen to the podcast on like 1.5 speed? That's how I think their defenses play. Like they are all speed all the time. When I watch them play, and I don't even understand how quarterbacks have, or the people that are playing them have time to survey the field to look for open receivers, because it seems like their pass rush is right on top of you. With that being said, let's go ahead and take the segue and go over to College Park, where tough one. The Northwestern, I think it's Wildcats, 24. University of Maryland 21. Tough ball game. This probably looks like one of those games where, you just couldn't get your kids in line because they were living off of the week before, and this was a trap game, and they fell right into the trap. With that being said, let's see what Colorado got going on, because Colorado's been struggling all year, and it looks like Colorado lost 28-14. And I can already see right off the top what the storyline is. They only have 41 yards rushing, 59 yards passing. Colorado lives and dies by its running game. They are almost like the real life service academies, like Army. If their run game isn't going, Colorado is going to struggle the whole time. With that being said, let's check in on Coach Darnell and the Wolverines. There we go. The Wolverines, they win their week 5 matchup 38-21. 376 yards worth of offense. Again, he put in hammer into nail, 218 yards rushing, 4 touchdowns, 158 yards passing. It looks like he got busy in the fourth quarter. KG, real quick. I mean, I know I asked you this before, but how difficult is it for you to get like your second team involved in a ball game? So like when you're putting up that 100, how much is that your first string? How much is that your second string?
For me personally, I don't bring in the second team. I don't. They'll do it every once in a while, and it's like toward this fourth quarter, game's out of reach. You don't want nobody to get hurt, but I don't do it.
Why not?
Because I'm like, when I had Jeremiah Love, who coincidentally went in the first round in last year's draft. Thank you very much. I wanted him to get all his stats, because it came down to a point where I had to run the ball. And when I ran the ball, I wanted to run it to the point that I ran out the clock, but he got all the carries that he was meant to get. And if it
That's interesting.
having 30 carries, great. Now I have two running backs that I really enjoy.
Mhm.
One is Rodney Culver Jr.
Right. I seen him.
The other is James Booby Miles Jr. And yes, for that very reason.
All right,
But
now I gotta watch you again because I saw Culver. I didn't see the Booby Miles. I'm gonna watch down just for yeah.
and for those that don't know, it's just my way to honor Rodney Culver Jr. is my way to honor a great fighting Irish player who was a part. If I'm not mistaken, he was a part of the national. He was a youngin.
He might
I
have been a
think
freshman on the national championship team.
that national championship team, but he was in the backfield. It was him, Jerome Bettis. They moved Ricky Waters in from receiver to running back,
Right.
and it was Rodney Culver. And they kind of sort of started this lineage of running backs at Notre Dame because after they left, then you had Reggie Brooks. And then after Reggie Brooks left, you had Lee Becton and Ray Zellers. Then you had Autry Denson. You know, it was like this line of Notre Dame running backs that I always fell in love with. And he was the start, and tragically, he was a part of the Value Jet plane crash. I want to say that was '96 while he was playing with the Chargers. He was on his way back home, and the plane crashed in the Everglades. So I always try to find ways to honor him and a lot of other guys that come through that have been through Notre Dame. So that's just my story. And of course, we know who Booby Miles is. Great Permian, Odessa Permian running back. Partially towards ACL, didn't get the surgery, tried to rehab, came back completely towards ACL, and kind of derailed his career. But he was going to be one of the greats. He was going to be one of the greats. So,
Well, since we're talking Fighting Irish, let's go ahead and transition over to the Fighting Irish in their battle against Tennessee, which I watched some of this ball game. 20 Notre Dame 42, Tennessee 17. Tennessee was up going into the half, but the Irish came out and put together a couple quality drives and then shut them out in the second half. I don't know. This ball game, 129 yards rushing on the ground, 4 TDs. We got 284 yards passing. This ball game was interesting. It was great. I watched probably until once you started running or pulling away, that's when I stopped watching. But yeah, you did your thing this ball game. I give you credit, but I know BJ's probably gonna say this to you and probably has said this to you. I think you guys still give your tight ends a little bit more love. Especially when you run out of those power sets.
oh,
But
that's I'll tell anybody that's the goal. Because I got a tight end, I can't remember his name, but he is a load to bring down. When he gets in the open field, he's agile, but when he starts running, he has a head of steam. I've seen him run over 3-4 DBs. You got to tackle him with a linebacker.
yeah,
So
pull out the VHS.
yeah, you know, BJ always got to talk about, hey man, we got a long line of Notre Dame running backs that starts years ago. But I mean, you think about all the Notre Dame running backs that have come through and been successful at Notre Dame, then went on to have successful careers in the NFL.
We had one on Thursday night. Thursday night we had Kyron Williams, a guy that I know I spoke in volumes about when I first started with you guys. So I think he was a senior when he came out when I was talking about him, and here we are. You know, I knew he was a good runner. I knew he could catch passes out of the backfield, and that's just another person. But let's get back to the fictitious college football land, and let's check in with the Tide. What did the Tide do?
This is a revenge game. I talked to the Alabama kid. And I walked up on him. I said, you know, he was on the sideline and he was getting his team ready. And, you know, I decided to hop into Vanderbilt. And I said, It's a revenge game? He said, why would you say that? I said, because they beat you last season. He said, yeah, it's a revenge game. I just didn't need it to be said. He went out there and he got his revenge 49-21.
And it looks like we got 65 yards on the ground, 2 TDs, 307 yards through the air. I think he's starting to cultivate something in the air game. I don't know what that is yet, but I think he's starting to get to a point where, like, through the air and through the ground, he's going to be dominant, and that's going to help him, I think, when it comes January, when he starts getting into the playoffs, he's going to be able to get some things done. And let's check in on those Penn State boys. And here we go. By the time I start to think about the great running backs out of Maryland, my instant coffee is finished. Yeah, they had at least Lamar Jordan, right?
Yeah, you got Lamar Jordan. Who was
what was that dude's name back in the day? I can't think of it now. I'll think about it later and I'll say it tomorrow on you lying, security won't let you get that close to the Alabama coach.
I mean, I don't have that problem. I mean, I can get close to him. I mean, I can get him on conference calls. So,
all right, we got Penn State 28-27 over USC. Did you watch this? Because how did we get to 28-27?
It went to overtime, but I think he stopped them on a 2-point conversion.
Got you. All right, that makes sense. And that's still one of the worst rules in college football ever. Is why are we doing 2-point conversions here on out when we could just play football? Like, I don't know why we are rejecting the reason to play college football, even in overtime. Let teams score the touchdowns. Let teams put up the points. Who cares? But you should always resist the urge to not play not play football and play football. And then let's check in with the Terps.
And Penn State scored and won on the field goal.
Okay.
Then 2-point conversion stop. So,
all right, makes sense.
Checking in with the Terps.
Terps 34-7 over Nebraska. Terps with 338 yards worth of offense. 246 through the air, 92 on the ground. The Terps just be terping. Like, whenever I watch B, I love the way he sets up the next play. Because I think his offense is kind of congruent to what he's about to do. I think he's probably if I had to identify with a player, like if they played my style, I think he'd be the closest. You know, because I like the way he uses his motion. I like the way he set up his quarterback, because I think he set up his quarterback to be a fit in the system. And whether that was getting them extra touches early, whether that was what I want to say, like his development and what I guess the tools or the things that he wanted to adjust to, I think he did a really good job of getting himself the best fit quarterback for him. And with that said, let's see where we are after week 5, the top 25. And it looks like there's some expletives towards Nebraska from the Boss B.
Now, let me say this, since we're talking about Nebraska. Nebraska has dropped 3 straight games. Nebraska was ranked number 3, right?
Okay.
Going into the game with Michigan, they lost to Michigan. They lost to
Penn State.
Didn't they lose to Alabama? No, they lost to Alabama.
Okay.
It was Michigan, Alabama, and now Maryland. They've dropped 3 straight games. 3 straight games. So they went from number 3 down to number 17. Now they didn't lost this. Now we got one more game to play today. And I think Maryland is going to move up. Nebraska may drop out of the top 25. And that's one thing that's not being talked about, because, I mean, of course, that's not a user-led team, but this is opening the door for somebody to move into one of those playoff spots. Even though it's early, it's somebody's going to move into that playoff spot. And it may be Maryland making their move, making their way downtown, walking fast.
No, I'm joking.
But
I'm sorry. Because my kid tried to get me hooked on that. So I apologize in advance for that. So top 25. Looks like we got Oregon 1, Alabama 2, Penn State 3, Michigan 5. So 5 with the top 5, we got 4 of the top 5 user led. We got Notre Dame at 8. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the top 10. We have, I think that's all the users.
Maryland at 21.
Maryland's at 21. So
but
that's
now,
all right. But yeah, this is going to change because we should have at least 6 in the top. And then Texas, right?
Well, Texas is struggling this season.
That's probably because Arch Manning graduated, and they probably didn't bring the young quarterback along to replace him.
Last I checked, Texas was 1-3.
They're 2-3 on this, so
2-3. Oh shoot, are they in the top 25?
Yeah, they're number 22.
Oh Lord, 2-3. Oh Lord. And now the SEC has gotten tougher because now you have Colorado in the SEC, as well as myself and Notre Dame, and we have a SEC matchup coming up later on today. Kind of a civil war, Colorado versus Notre Dame, and I'll be honest, I'm actually nervous about said game because last time I played Colorado, both fresh, only won 21-15. It wasn't decisive, anything of the sort. And I look at how this season is played out from my perspective. And I'm just looking at the games. I'm like, okay, just keep pacing the SEC. I'll see Alabama in the championship game. If I can see Alabama in the championship game, if I got a puncher's chance, I've seen some things playing Alabama that I think is the way to defeat Alabama. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to go into anything else. I saw something. And
you saw Alabama tug their jersey when they going to run the football or something?
No, it's more of I feel like John Gruden when
I got you. Nah, and the tug of the jersey is a shout out to that. I don't know if it was a Disney movie or whatever, but there was like this kid at Clemson whose brother ended up having to live with him, and the brother was in the film room, and he was like the running back. And of course, this is probably just Disney having this moment to spotlight the kid. But he was like in the meeting in film session, and he talked about the running back always tugging his jersey before he got the ball. And I found it funny and ironic, but movies sometimes. But the good thing is, when it comes to the greatest fictitious college football show in the land, we don't give you any movie, we don't give you any hyperbole. We give you straight facts and give you straight information. And if you decide that you want to join this league, like we always say, if you want the smoke, we got the lighter and the cigar. It's the Sideline Junkies College Football Dynasty League. KG, what else you got? Or if you got anything else for the people?
Quickly. Very, very quickly.
Yeah.
BJ talking about Nebraska. He said all 3 of their losses are all ranked.
That's true.
They tumble too much.
Right.
And he said Texas opponents were all ranked. So
that's true. Texas had they had a hornet's nest when they opened the season up. And I think the good thing for them is everything else after this is they got through the landmines. And as long as they can stay grounded and put up some stuff, they might even be able to get in the playoff. That 12 seed, I think the one thing that the real world notice is learning now, but I think we learned between the first 2 progressions of this is if the honeycomb spot is that 5-12 matchup. if you can get 5-12, you can get through the playoffs. I mean, you don't have the hardest road to the championship. And now that's probably going to change in next year because people are already complaining. But that 5-12 spot is a good spot to be in.
Well, you talk about complaints. I'm gonna say this real quick. I have been lobbying for uh, conference realignment to make it a bit more balanced. But I think honestly, and I'm saying this publicly, if I win the SEC and I win the SEC championship, I think I'm moving over to the Big Ten next year, so I can win a Big Ten championship. I think I'm just gonna start conference hopping and stealing championships so I can got them all in my mantle. That's how confident I feel about my team.
Okay. I was not expecting that. Not from Mr. Tradition himself. I never thought you would say that. But I get what you're saying.
I've been messing with the balls, BJ. I was like, man, you messing up my tradition by trying to put me in a conference. I understand he wants everybody to play, but I'm like, dude, you got to realize I'm for 100 years.
Now you're going to be a conference rebel after that.
Yeah, I'm just going to be a merc. Just running around, just grabbing conference championships and leaving.
Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here first that the big guy, KG, has decided that he's going to jump out on a lark and just try to steal conference titles as much as he can because he doesn't care about tradition anymore. And Mr. Jesse Young, good morning, good afternoon. You caught us at the end. Hopefully you go back and check us out on YouTube where you can stream this. I don't know if it's on Odyssey. If it is, you can check us out on Odyssey. But I'm going to say YouTube, just go back, rewatch the show. Of course, you won't get live comments, but you can always get great information because you are watching the greatest fictitious college football show in the land, and that is called The Gridiron. KG, do you have anything else?
I'll say this. Even if you don't have live comments, you can still comment, and we can see the comments.
Exactly.
And we can respond to them. I like certain comments. I was talking to the fellas about this. Certain comments, if they don't age well, I'm gonna pull your card on it. So, you know, I got a couple cards that I got to pull today. I had to pull a guy's card a while back because when the Carson Wentz trade happened with the Commanders, I was like, we gave up the farm, and this is not gonna work out. Man, we needed a quarterback. We're good. We're going to the playoffs. And I had to check them. How did that work out for you? Didn't I tell you it wasn't gonna work? So,
all right. So I'm the Midnight Rider. That's the big guy, KG. This is the greatest fictitious college football show in the land. And again, if you want to join our league, it's the Sideline Junkies Dynasty League on the PlayStation 5 College Football 25. If you want the smoke, we got the cigar and the lighter. Come holler at your boys. And with that being said, we'll catch you later. Thanks for watching. We'll look forward to you watching next week. But before we go, tonight, the Saturday Night WrestleManiacs have a special show for the Saturday main event that comes up after the fact. I think their normal show is at 8, but they're going to do a reaction show to Saturday Night main event. And then tomorrow morning at 11, you get the Sunday Rise. So with that being said, I'm the Midnight Rider. We don't do no overtime. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow. Enjoy. Well, actually, we'll see you tonight with the WrestleManiacs. Enjoy your time. Be easy. Have a great night. And we are out of here because we don't do no overtime. Holla at your boys.